Hello everybody, welcome to MOOC's Access to Justice program. I am Saika, Advocate High Court, and today I am going to teach a module on Permanent Lok Adalat prepared by Dr. Bharti Yadav, Assistant Professor, National Law University, Delhi. The objective of the program is to appreciate the idea, the need for Permanent Lok Adalat, to understand the public utility service, to verify the organizational setup of Permanent Lok Adalat. I'm going to do this presentation according to the following scheme. There will be an introduction, and I'm going to talk a little bit about public utility service, need for PLA, organizational structure of PLA, composition, summary and allowance, tenure, removal of members, place of sitting, jurisdiction, proceedings, award, and I'm going to conclude this program with a brief summary of today's presentation. Introduction. Why do we need a Permanent Lok Adalat? Now, there are few objectives for which the Permanent Lok Adalat Act was enacted, and these are to reduce the burden of the judiciary, for speedy disposal of cases. The Legal Service Authorities Act provides for Permanent Lok Adalat. The central authority on every state shall, by notification, establish Permanent Lok Adalat as such places for two purposes. Number one, for exercising such jurisdiction in respect of one or more public utility services, and for such areas as may be specified in the notification. Public utility services. Now, how do we define or understand public utility services? Public utility services means transport for the service of carriage of passengers or goods by air or water, or postal telegraph or telephone services, or for supply of power, light, water to public by an establishment or system of public sanitation or services in the hospital or dispensary. Insurance service, and may include any service which the central government or the state government, as the case may be, in the public interest by notification declare the public utility service for the purpose of this chapter. This is how the public utility service has been defined under the Legal Service Authorities Act of 1987. Now we come to the question of why do we need a Permanent Lok Adalat? The need for establishment of Permanent Lok Adalat was highlighted by the Delhi High Court in Abdul Hussain versus Delhi Vidyut Board. According to the available statistics, there is huge pendency of cases in various courts, and the number of pendency rates almost to 3 crore. In our country, there are only 10.5% judges, 10.5 judges per million population to dispose of these cases. In such cases, and particularly keeping in mind the objective of speedy disposal of cases and reducing the burden on judiciary and the sessions court, the Permanent Lok Adalat was provided for under the Legal Service Authorities Act of 1987. The Indian Parliament then enacted the Act, and the Act was not to enforce did not come into force for almost 8 years after its enactment. It was only on November 9th, 1995 that the provision for the Act under Chapter 3 was made. And the Chapter 3 provides following. It is in the interest of the citizen of the India that Permanent Lok Adalat are established and held continuously for facilitating speedy disposal of all kinds of cases. Permanent Lok Adalat must be set up in various departments of the government and subsidiary departments. Organizational setup of Permanent Lok Adalat. What is the composition? The flowchart here talks about the composition and establishment of Permanent Lok Adalat as provided under the Legal Service Authorities Act. Now, if you look at this flowchart, you can see that it provides for the first block talks about the salary and allowance of the members of the Permanent Lok Adalat, the tenure of the members of the Lok Adalat, the procedure for the removal of the members of the Lok Adalat, place of sitting and working hours, jurisdiction of the Permanent Lok Adalat, proceeding before the Permanent Lok Adalat, award of permanent Lok Adalat, that is whether the permanent Lok Adalat, the decision or the award made by them, is it binding or not, and what is the effect. Now coming to the composition of permanent Lok Adalat. Permanent Lok Adalat comprises of 3 members total, 1 person to function as the chairman of the permanent Lok Adalat, and 2 members. Now who are to be appointed as the member, and how are they to be appointed. Every permanent Lok Adalat, the Act provides the following. Every permanent Lok Adalat established for an area shall consist of 2 persons who has been a district judge or an additional district judge, or has held the judicial official higher than in the rank that of the district judge, shall be the chairman of the permanent Lok Adalat. So the chairman has to be, as per the Act, the chairman has to be either a district judge or an additional district judge, or any person who is higher the rank of the additional district judge can be alone be appointed as the chairman of the permanent Lok Adalat. Additionally, there are 2 members in addition to the chairperson, and the 2 members should have adequate experience in public utility service. Now, in the beginning of this lesson, of this module, I had explained what public utility service stands for. So any person who has adequate experience in public utility service and is nominated by the central government are to be appointed as the member of the permanent Lok Adalat. Salary and allowance. What should be the salary and allowance of these members? Now, for the chairperson, when a serving judicial officer is appointed as the chairperson, he shall receive the salary allowance and other prerequisites as are admissible to the serving judicial officer. So, for instance, if an acting judge, additional judge or additional district judge has been appointed as the chairperson of the permanent Lok Adalat, in that case, he shall draw the same salary which he is entitled to as the judge or as an additional district judge. Now, when the retired judicial officer is appointed as a chairperson, he shall be entitled to a monthly fee of last drawn salary less than the amount of the pension received by him. So, what happens in case where the chairperson of the permanent Lok Adalat is a retired judge? In that case, the law says that the chairperson in that case shall get the same salary which would be equivalent to the amount which he was drawing just before his retirement, and that should be an amount which is less, but it should be an amount which is less than the money which he receives as his pension. Salary and allowance of other members. So what should be the allowance for the other 2 members of the permanent Lok Adalat? Any person shall be entitled to a sitting fee of rupees 500 per sitting. So if you have to understand over here that the other members are not a permanent member of Lok Adalat. They can be a member for any particular or individual sitting also. So in that case, the law provides that the fee should be rupees 500 per sitting. The chairman and other person shall be entitled to such travelling and daily allowances or official tour as are admissible to Group A officers of the central government. So officers which are gazetted officers under Group A of the central government are entitled to certain salary and travel allowance. So the law says that the member and the chairperson of permanent Lok Adalat are entitled to similar benefits and allowances. The rule for appointment and service condition for the chairperson and other person in permanent Lok Adalat have been made in 2003. So it was only in 2003 these rules were enacted as to the salary and the allowances. Before appointment, the chairperson and other person shall have to undertake that he does not and will not have such financial or other interest as is likely to affect his function as such chairperson and other person. So the person joining as the chairman or the person joining as the member of permanent Lok Adalat has to give an undertaking in written and signed by him, stating that it is not going to he shall not have any other financial interest as is likely to affect his function. So he should not be in any other position, official position or ranking where he has a financial interest, and as a matter of fact that would affect his position as a member of permanent Lok Adalat.